You ever heard of the show Fresh and Fit?
Yeah. I told Fresh and Fit that they were supposed to put me on. He was asleep. He didn't know who I was. But what? I'm steady putting up. We stand at the same. I'm standing in a bigger spot than them. No disrespect to them because I don't live there. You know what I'm saying? I was just standing there at the spot. But my nigga Bender Dunn.
Yeah.
He's staying there too. He got the big stupid ass spot like what I'm staying in. I'm just standing there. Bender Dunn, $14,000 a month. Big stupid ass. I was paying like some like $2,500 a day.
Yeah.
Some ignorant ass just staying in that building. I was there for like 3 weeks. Like just money. I just got whatever. I got both of my Maybachs downstairs. Fresh and Fit, they putting up downstairs in Lamborghinis and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm downstairs, Maybach.
Yeah, I heard you was in Miami, man, doing your thing.
That's what my business is. I have a place of business in Brickell. Like, I'm big boy. Yeah, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? Boom, I'm steady parking downstairs. I seen them, they seen me. I got all the girls. I'm getting girls that's coming from nation. I done bagged like 6 girls coming up and down nation. You know what I'm saying? So
Nah, you need to be on there. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What, bro? Them people they didn't need me on the.
Nah, I put you with them.
Like I should have been on there.
They would be honored to have you. 100%. They would be honored.
They only had one person on there to talk that like me, kind of that bald head dude, the black dude. Like he like the black Andrew Tate. He's hard. He be talking that shit. I don't know about name, but he bald headed black dude, sophisticated. He be
no. You talking about Satan Sinner? Yeah, he's a smooth talker.
He him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think anybody who is like you knows how important words and speech is, and he comes from a sophisticated perspective.
He own it though. Like see me like.
In one of the most unexpected yet strangely poetic moments in modern hip-hop media, DJ Akademiks sat across from Sauce Walka and found himself caught between entertainment, truth, and the strange mythology of internet masculinity. What began as another casual on-air conversation about influence, clout, and platforms unfolded into something far more personal, a story of rejection, ego, and revelation. Sauce Walka didn't just name-drop the Fresh and Fit podcast. He used it as a mirror, exposing the vanity and contradiction that pulse beneath so much of online self-help culture. The way he told it, this wasn't about a booking that didn't happen. It was about how certain people perform strength while quietly operating from insecurity, how the men preaching about alpha identity sometimes fold when confronted by someone who actually lives it. He began with an image that felt cinematic, him standing in a luxury suite, Maybach Park downstairs, surrounded by energy, by women, by life itself. Everything about the scene was performative and yet completely authentic to who he is, a Houston street poet who built an empire on charisma, independence, and spectacle. The way he described being left downstairs by the hosts of Fresh and Fit wasn't just literal, it was symbolic. He was placing himself outside the inner sanctum of a self-styled brotherhood of high-value men, a group that sells the promise of access while carefully guarding its gate. For Sauce, who's never begged entry into anyone's world, that rejection wasn't a wound. It was confirmation that the gatekeepers were afraid of what his presence would reveal, that the performance of dominance collapses when confronted with someone unafraid to be real. Akademiks listened with the kind of quiet disbelief that only happens when someone tells a story too wild to fabricate. The Fresh and Fit hosts, Myron and Walter Fresh Weeks, had, according to Sauce, brushed him off despite his willingness to pull up, to sit down, to give them what every podcast dreams of, viral energy. Yet the more he spoke, the clearer it became that this wasn't just about scheduling or ego. It was about the fragile hierarchies that define influencer culture. In Miami, status isn't measured in morality or originality, it's measured in optics. And the optics of Sauce Walka, the gold teeth, the street authenticity, the unapologetic personality, don't fit neatly into a formula built around calculated masculinity and algorithmic talking points. Sauce wasn't venting as much as he was diagnosing a sickness in the culture. He described paying exorbitant rates for luxury spaces, moving through Miami with confidence, collecting women like proof of presence, and still being ignored by men who claim to honor power. There was a tension in his delivery, part amusement, part disappointment. He didn't seem angry at being snubbed. He seemed fascinated by it. What does it mean when the architects of real man ideology can't face someone who embodies everything they preach, but with none of the self-help scaffolding? What does it mean when authenticity threatens the business model? When Sauce mentioned saint and sinner, the conversation shifted from satire to sermon. There was reverence in his tone, a recognition that not all online philosophers are frauds. Saint and Sinner, a YouTuber known for his tailored suits and rhetorical precision, represents an older archetype of manhood, one grounded in poise, discipline, and language. Sauce spoke of him not as competition, but as kin, a man who could talk the talk and still command respect. In a digital landscape built on noise, that kind of quiet control is rare. His praise wasn't flattery, it was alignment. It was the street recognizing sophistication without submission. This is what made the moment with Akademiks feel so alive. You had 3 different versions of modern masculinity colliding in real time. Akademiks, the commentator, the observer, the amplifier, representing the analytical side of hip-hop media. Sauce Walka, the artist, the showman, the living contradiction of chaos and conviction. And looming in the background, fresh and fit, the institutionalized, monetized model of self-improvement, selling formulas for confidence that evaporate when confronted by someone who doesn't need them. Sauce wasn't mocking, he was unmasking. He was pointing out that the men who talk about high value often misunderstand value itself. His storytelling carried that signature cadence, half preacher, half comedian, every sentence bouncing between insight and absurdity. You could hear him turning the memory over in his mind, replaying the scene. Him downstairs, Maybach idling, girls moving in and out, and upstairs, the supposed alphas hiding behind their microphones. The visual was too perfect to ignore. It was theater, but was also truth. Sauce wasn't there to get approval. He was there to show that he didn't need it. What stands out most is how naturally he slipped from humor into philosophy. Beneath the jokes about hotel bills and studio spaces was a deeper meditation on what authenticity costs. In a culture where everyone is branding themselves, staying real can feel like rebellion. Sauce Walka's rejection by Fresh and Fit didn't make him bitter. It reaffirmed his understanding that certain rooms aren't built to hold real energy. His decision to name-drop saint and sinner as an example of integrity was more than a shout-out. It was a declaration of values. He was saying, if you're going to talk about being a man, let it mean something beyond followers, beyond watch brands, beyond the illusion of dominance. Akademiks' reaction told its own story. He's built a career on reading the room, on sensing when the temperature of a conversation changes. In this case, you could almost feel him recalibrating as Sauce kept going. What started as a light-hearted conversation about podcasts became a commentary on the spiritual bankruptcy of cloud culture. Akademiks, who has navigated his own complicated relationship with authenticity, seemed to recognize the weight of what was being said. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Sauce Walka, long seen as a flamboyant caricature, was articulating something profound about dignity and perception. There's a strange poetry in how Sauce delivered his critique. He never moralized. He didn't claim superiority. He simply told his story, confident that the truth would speak for itself. The humor in his delivery was armor. It softened the blow while making the punchlines land harder. When he talked about paying outrageous sums for a temporary stay in Miami, it wasn't flexing, it was commentary on excess. When he talked about women moving through his orbit, it wasn't just bravado. It was a reflection of the energy he attracts and the way others misinterpret it. He was reminding the audience that charisma can't be taught, that it's something you either have or you don't. And maybe that's the real reason Fresh and Fit couldn't bring him on. Sauce Walka represents everything they're trying to reverse engineer through talking points and repetition. He's chaos, confidence, and creation all in one.